Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. Now, I know a few of you have just clicked on this video, and you guys are probably a little bit hesitant about actually watching this video, but please give me the next few minutes to explain myself and hopefully persuade you. If you guys can't tell from the title or thumbnail, in today's video, I'm going to be talking about second accounts. One of the most popular complaints/questions I get is, Penguin, I really want to make gold, but everything I'm selling is on the region-wide auction house, and it is just hard to sell things with so much competition. You know, I'm a raider, I play Mythic Plus, and I just cannot compete with the other people. Or there's the other side of people who are in the crafting order market and are crafting epic pieces of gear, but they just don't want to stick around in Valdrakken all day advertising, and so this video should hopefully help you out. Now, of course, because of the nature of this topic, I know a lot of people are already writing it off, but please just give me a few minutes to explain why this is so good. This video is going to be broken down into 4 parts. Up first, I'm just going to explain why a second account is so handy. Up next, I'm going to show you how you can actually afford it and what it's going to cost you. Third, I'm going to give you a live demo, kind of showcasing exactly what I was talking about, but live in-game. And lastly, if you are finally convinced about making a second account, I will show you how to set that up. But everybody, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the video. And alright, up first, let's talk about why a second account is so useful. And I'm actually going to ask you to do something if you're watching right now. Now, of course, I don't know what your situation is right now when you're watching this video, but if you have a piece of paper in front of you, maybe you can write it down, on a notepad on your computer, or just think about it in your head, but we're going to go over a scenario. So the first thing I want to ask you is, how many hours per day do you play WoW? Now, of course, this doesn't have to be super specific, but in our case, let's just say I play 4 hours a day, and we're going to use that 4 hours metric. Pick whatever is reasonable for you. Then up next, think about what you do in those 4 hours, right? Are you a raider who has to spend 2 hours raiding with your guild? Are you a Mythic Plus player who tries to run at least 3 dungeons, so it's going to take you, about 2 hours or whatever? Maybe you are somebody who is trying to collect old world mounts, so you're running old world raids. Or maybe you are just a full-on gold maker and you are crafting and selling for every single hour. Whatever it is, create a little bit of a breakdown. In my example, in my 4 hours, I'm going to dedicate 1 hour to kind of world quest and weekly stuff. So, knowledge points collection, completing world quest for rep, all of that. Then I spend a second hour doing dungeons, whether that's Mythic Plus, whether that's those weekly dungeon quests, whatever it is, and then I spend those final 2 hours on gold making. Now, whatever your breakdown is, think about how much time you are spending on gold making. In my case, I said I'm going to spend 2 hours, but think about what you're actually doing during those hours. For example, I am somebody who crafts a lot of tailoring bolts, so being realistic, I probably AFK craft at least 30 minutes worth of bolts. I also do a lot of cooking, which is a lot of AFK crafting, so I would probably say, an hour and a half of those 2 hours of gold making is straight crafting. Meaning out of my 4 hours, I am only left with about, 30 minutes of actually posting on the auction house. This is posting my items, this is canceling them, this is checking my sales. Anything regarding the auction house, I probably dedicate 30 minutes to every single day. And so you're probably thinking, alright Penguin, get on with it, what in the world are you talking about? And this is where the power of the second account comes in. So if you are somebody who is selling things on the auction house, you will be using a second account to post and cancel your auctions. Of course, if you are a crafter order person, you will be basically thinking about the same thing, but instead of posting on the auction house, you'd be thinking about advertising in trade chat. But with my scenario, let's say I start up a second account, I run that second account whenever I am on my first, automatically that is 4 hours of posting. Right? Because I play 4 hours a day, meaning I'm going to have that second account open for 4 hours, and the only thing I'm doing on that second account is posting and canceling auctions. So immediately a lot of people think, oh, I play 4 hours a day, a second account lets me do things at once, that's, double my gold making, and yes, that's true, but in a lot of cases, it's like quadrupling or even 10xing your outputs. In my specific example, yes, I play 4 hours a day, but only about 30 minutes of that is actually canceling and posting, just because of the other stuff that I do. So actually, in my example, I am taking 30 minutes and turning it into 4 hours. And not only that, but I'm also getting the 30 minutes back on my main account. So let's say you're somebody who is already actively sitting on the auction house for an hour a day, you can actually gain that hour of playtime back because you have that second account. So, if you play 4 hours and you dedicated an hour to just sitting on the auction house, that is an extra hour of dungeon runs that you can do, or an extra hour of achievement hunting, whatever you like to do, and it speeds up your gold tremendously. And so that's really just what I want to get across. Second accounts are so good and improve your efficiency so much, especially in this expansion where there's so much competition and so much big AFK bulk crafting. And alright, moving on to part 2. Alright Penguin, this sounds nice, but how much is this actually going to cost? And sadly, depending on your region, or thankfully depending on your region, it is pretty vastly different. And so for this section, you are completely at the mercy of WoW token prices. So if you guys are somebody who is watching this in the future, WoW token prices might be drastically different, but just check your auction house and see the cost. So currently, as of recording, the NA token price is at about 140,000, while EU is almost double that at 246,000 gold. So obviously there is a huge regional difference. And so in order for you to actually afford a second account, you are going to need 2 WoW tokens up front, because sadly there was a change in Shadowlands that you can no longer just gift a month of game time, you actually have to gift 2 months, so technically it's the same price, you just have to pay more up front. So now in order to jumpstart your second account, you basically have to pay 2 WoW tokens, but you do get 2 months worth of game time. So that means if you want to start a second account on NA, that's going to cost you 280,000 gold, while on EU it is very high at 492,000. Now this is where a lot of people get discouraged, because a lot of people are saying, Penguin, I don't have 500k sitting in my bags right now, I only have 20k or whatever, and I completely understand that. At the end of the day, this is a method only for somebody who is a little bit more experienced in gold making. So if you are somebody who is just fresh, into Dragonflight, you just started gold making, this might not be a reasonable thing that you can do tomorrow, but in a few months as you grow up your stock, even in a matter of few days, depending on what you're selling, you will gain enough gold to do this. So even if you can't do it now, you should be able to do it in the future. And to answer another very common question is if you are just using the auction house to either advertise in trade chat or post, your items, you do not need the current expansion. All you need is a sub, hence why this is only costing us 2 tokens rather than, 6 or 7. Also, I know I get a lot of questions and remarks about being able to keep affording a second account. I didn't necessarily talk about it at the initial part of recording, but I do want to quickly discuss that. So yes, if you do have a second account, you are now, of course, having to buy 2 WoW tokens a month instead of just 1 to sustain yourself. But because of how much more you can post on the auction house, you should be able to easily make that. Going back to our example, if you are somebody who is spending an hour posting every day, or whatever that metric is, and you can afford a WoW token every month, see how much, that second account is going to help you, and most likely it's going to over double your time on the auction house, which should mean that it's going to more than double your amount of gold. So of course, I wouldn't necessarily worry about being able to keep up with the accounts. Also, during the tutorial part of this video, I will mention that you can recruit a friend, meaning you will get a quote-unquote free game time every 3 months. So that means every 3 months, you're not technically buying 6 WoW tokens, you're only buying 5. Of course, that's 2 more than normal, but generally spending and affording the second account once it's running is not a ton of issue. Also, if something comes up and you can't afford it for a month, that is completely fine. Just send all of your items back to your first account, and you can start it back up whenever you got time again. So I wouldn't let that stress you out, but let's continue. And so right here, we are officially in game. This is my main account, and I currently have a second one. I will pull it up on the side of the screen, and now you guys should be able to reasonably see the second one. I will blow it up for just a second, but I am actively running these 2 accounts at once. Now, if you guys are worried about performance issues, graphics or whatever, do remember that you can edit these accounts. Yes, I'm running at a high quality, but you can change this to 1 on your second account if you have, graphics issues. Also, a very popular one that I want to point out is maximum background FPS. So if you are somebody who struggles with actually running multiple games, you can turn this down very, very low. And so now every time that I tab out of it and I run and focus my main account, this second account will only run at 10 FPS, so it will help you with your performance. You can have this set to whatever you like, but there are ways to make sure you can try to run 2 accounts. But once we have these open, basically, I just do whatever I want on my main account, and I actively sell stuff on my second. Now, excuse the fact that I don't have much stock available, but, I can quickly go here, post up 3 bags, post up some missives, post up some polishing cloth, whatever I gotta do, put up some toys, and I can actively be doing something on my first account. So I'll make this a little bit smaller, and as you can see, we are getting sales. Now, let's say this is my, 1 hour of crafting that I dedicate to crafting. I can sit here, and I mentioned that, I AFK craft a lot of bolts, so I can sit here, drink my potion, start my crafting, and this is going to be a 41-minute craft. Normally, what I would have to do with 1 account is just, kind of forfeit those 41 minutes. But basically being AFK, I can go over to my second account, which is just a quick, tab in for me, and I can run cancel scans, right? All of those missives sold, so we can post up some more. Our polishing cloth sold. I can post up some more. Keep posting, right? Okay, we're gonna post some legendaries. We're gonna post up some enchants, and just go over our normal auction house routine. Maybe you haven't cancel scanned in a while, so I can sit here and quickly undercut. Keep in mind this is a scan, so if I was actively doing something on my first account, I could tab out as this scans and come back, once it's ready to actually undercut everything. But this is, the pros of having a second account. So now I can sit here and, cancel all of the auctions. I'm not gonna actually make you guys sit through all of that, but just for fun, we can cancel some of these auctions. There we go. Pick it up out of the mailbox. And perfect, right? Once again, we are actively doing something on our first account, as I am actively making gold on my second. Now, of course, a lot of us are not just going to be sitting AFK on our first account, so who knows? Maybe I'm somebody doing World Quest, and I'm currently flying over to this dragon race. As I am kind of, dragon riding, of course I made the second screen pretty small, but I can quickly get in a few posts, even a cancel scan if I want, as I fly across the map. Just tab right in, use my, vigor, whatever I gotta do. Continue flying, tab back in, post some items, etc. So let's say you're in the middle of a dungeon. You probably shouldn't do this mid-dungeon fight, but hey, you can if you want. Just a quick tab in, tab out, have it on separate monitors, whatever your computer setup is, and then you're good to go. Now, let's say you are doing the trade chat thing. All you have to do is create some sort of macro. Remember, all trade chats are, connected in all major cities, so you can just have your character sitting here, advertising in trade chat, hey, I can craft this. If you're interested, message me. And if you get a message, just tell them to send that order to your specific ult. So, let's say my main character right here, this is my tailor. Just for fun, let's say I was selling this gear. Of course, I would not be selling this in trade chat, but let's say I was advertising it. Somebody messaged me and said, hey, I do want those leggings. You can just say, hey, message my ult to this person, and then you can go craft it. It saves you from having to sit in Valdrakken all day. Of course, in this scenario, you kind of have to be able to get back to Valdrakken pretty fast, but it's just a way to gain customers without impeding on your original gameplay. And yeah, guys, that is kind of my live demo. Now, if you guys are ever interested, I basically do this every single day on stream. I stream about 3 times a week on Twitch. So if you guys are interested, feel free to check back on my old VODs. You can kind of see how this works, or stop by, when I'm live and ask questions, but it's just really this simple. Now, of course, you can actually take this up a notch and purchase Dragonflight. This is also a lot more of a gold investment, but you can purchase Dragonflight and have a full-on AFK crafter on that second account. I always talk about inscription costing a ton of time because you have to craft inks and all of that. Have yourself a scribe on your second account. So now for 4 hours, you are crafting inks. Or, you are crafting bolts. Maybe you put a tailor there. Maybe you're doing disenchant shuffling, so you put your enchanter on your second account. Of course, that costs a lot more, but you'll probably make a lot more gold too. And so the final part of this video is how to actually set up this second account. The first thing you're going to have to do is go to your account settings on BNet. So the easiest way to do this is go to your BNet launcher, click on your username where it says like you're offline away, etc. Then hit view account. It will take you to an actual Chrome page. It might ask you to log in, but once you're there, you're going to want to go to games and subscriptions. Once you're there, you will see a list of all of your games. It will look very different depending on how many accounts you have, how many games you have, etc. But you will want to scroll down all the way to the bottom where it says starter editions and public test regions. Now, of course, if you guys have ever wanted a PTR account, there you go. But in our case, we are going to hit create starter account. Then you'll be asked to pick the region and of course pick whatever region you play on. So if you play on NA, pick Americas and Oceania. If you play on EU, hit EU, etc. After that, all you have to do is hit create account and you should see that starter account show up within your game accounts. You may have to reload your launchers, but now if you go back to WoW, you should see multiple options whenever you pick a WoW to run. So by default, you probably see WoW 1, Dragonflight, or whatever your original game is called, but you can click the arrow and you will see all of your accounts. If you've never done any sort of multi-count thing before, you probably see WoW 2 Starter Edition. In my case, this would technically be WoW 4 Starter Edition, so that's why it's misnumbered, but it's whatever number and it will say Starter Edition. Now technically, once you see that second account, you are good to go. The next thing you have to do is just make sure you redeem 2 WoW tokens for Blizz Balance, then go into the shop, select, 2 months of game time, and then buy it and allocate it to your second account. However, if you guys want to take this a step further, you can actually recruit a friend your accounts, so not only do you get free game time back, but you also get those special recruit a friend rewards. If you guys have never recruited a friend before, you're going to want to log in to your main account, then, go onto any character, open up your friends list, and there will be a tab that says recruit a friend. Once there, at the bottom, you should have a button that you can press, and then you can generate a link. That link you can just paste into Chrome or whatever internet browser, and it will ask you what account you want to recruit. In this case, you would pick WoW 2 Starter Edition, or whatever that number or name of the account you just created. This is important to do this step before applying game time, because if you do it after, it's not guaranteed that it's going to work. but you will know the Recruit a Friend has actually gone through once it shows up in that Recruit a Friend tab in-game. Sometimes it does take a few hours, it's up to you if you want to wait, but generally it does always go through, just takes a little bit to show up. After that, then you are good to buy your game time. So like I mentioned, make sure you buy 2 WoW tokens, redeem them for Blizz Balance, and then gift 2 months of Blizz Balance, or actually just buy 2 months of Blizz Balance, and make sure it's assigned to whatever that second WoW account is called. After that, you are done. All you have to do is make yourself a level 1 or allied race level 10 character, sit in whatever favorite auction house you like, and start making gold. To those who use TSM and want to link your accounts together, I will have a video of my old video talking about second accounts, where I have a full TSM linking tutorial at the end of that video. Also, if you are somebody who actually wants to buy Dragonflight for AFK crafting, that video has a tutorial talking about those additional steps. But yeah guys, that is it for today's video. Thank you guys if you stuck through it. I really do appreciate it, and let me know if you have a second account or if you want one. I know this is not something for everybody. This is somebody who is really getting into gold making and has some decent gold to spend already. But if you guys are not in that position yet, don't give up. You guys got this, and let me know if you have any questions. But everybody, as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a good day.